You're good, brother.
Okay, we're going there, sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
my screen's off. So, hey, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Saturday Night Podcast here. Again, we are solo this week. Was it last week we had guests?
That's right. We had Ari.
Yeah, we had Ari last week. Yeah, I've been wondering about the professional comic. This week we do not have any guests, so it's myself and Jay in the control room. I think we're going to start. I think that, obviously COVID seems to be better. I don't want to say it's gone, but it's better.
For sure.
But I think we're going to start bringing guests in as soon as possible. And what I mean by that is maybe if we're lucky, as soon as next week. And then from there on, what I was thinking, because I know a lot of you guys, like the quote unquote solo snake talk. I think we'll keep it maybe like one day a month where we don't have guests, and then I'm going to try to bring in guests the other three weeks.
Right.
And most of them be reptile guests. Occasionally we'll do the Brother Clint type of thing, or the Ari thing where we're doing something completely outside the box. But I'm going to work on. I think the challenge is like to work on guests that aren't on every other podcast.
Right.
Because
you don't want to hear the same story regurgitated.
Right. Because if you really look at the reptile podcast, and I've always said, like, listen, it's not that I don't want to be a reptile podcast, but I'm a reptile guy, and my life evolves around reptiles.
Right.
But at the same time, I want to be more than just another reptile podcast, because quite honestly, there's just a lot of reptile podcasts, and a lot of them do a great job. MJ crushes it. He's got whatever. I think he's got 2 or 3 different podcasts. I don't even.
I don't know. I can't keep up.
I can't even keep up with MJ. Yeah. But I mean, obviously, Billy's got a podcast. There's just I don't want to name everyone, because obviously I'll leave someone out, and then they'll be mad at me.
Why would you mention me?
Yeah, why didn't you mention me in your podcast? Yeah. But my point is, there's a lot of really good reptile podcasts that cover reptile podcasts, really snaky type of stuff. Obviously Jeremy is another one.
Right.
Reptile Talk with those guys. But I don't want to be that. I really don't, for 2 reasons. Number one, I don't want to step on anyone else's toes. Let them do that world. And number 2, I have so many interests beyond reptiles. I want to always talk about reptiles. And the one thing that probably the Snake Talk / Saturday Night Solo does is and this is something that and I'm going to talk here later a little bit about, the vlog. And today we put a video out about the future of the vlog, and something that's really been wearing on not just myself, but Jay
of course.
and everyone in my team. So we'll talk about that a little bit later too. But my point is that obviously, I like the Snake Talk in the sense that, I have 30 something years of experience. So I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot. I've been through like the dark ages of reptiles, when it was like, you were a closet reptile person. And if you were, to the first reptile expos, to the biggest reptile expos, I've traveled the world to different expos. So I like bringing all that knowledge of breeding, keeping, husbandry, you name it. I love bringing that to you guys. But as far as like a reptile podcast, really beyond that, I'd like to bring guests on that maybe people don't know as much about because they haven't made the podcast series. I mean, if you think about it, like obviously we do podcasts, and Billy does podcasts, and Ozzy's been doing podcasts, and Justin Cabelic has been doing podcasts. Miguel will eventually, do some podcasts here and there. And the list goes on and on, you know what I mean? But it's kind of like the same 25 or 30 people kind of recirculate,
in rotation.
So as soon as, Ozzy does this podcast, then he does that podcast and that podcast and now he's been on 10 podcasts. And I love, by the way, I'm not singling out Ozzy. We're just having
just an example.
I love Ozzy's, he's got a great story. I've known Ozzy since he started. And as a matter of fact, the history behind that is really a great entrepreneurial story, because he bought the Orange Dream, the original Orange Dream, from a guy named Ian Nasdowski from Outback Reptile, and I don't know what he paid for it, but Ian told me he paid like $100 for it.
Jeez.
Like literally. Now again, he may have paid more, but I know Ian used to bring in a ton more than anyone else, imported baby, farmed animals. And he was really cheap. I mean, like, Ozzy doesn't live far from Ian. And as a matter of fact, I went to Ian's wedding and hung out with Ozzy the whole night at his wedding.
Oh, that's so cool.
So they're friends. They're close together. And I think that Ozzy used to just go over there when he was getting into the ball python game and pick through all the imports. And I think that, again, I don't know what he paid. Ian told me he paid $100, but my point is that I think that if Ozzy picked out something like this is kind of cool, I could see Ian going, yeah, give me $100.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
I could see that happening. And we all know that Orange Dreams as a whole gene is one of my favorite genes. I think it does amazing things to so many things.
Beautiful.
But a normal Orange Dream isn't that extreme. You could see if you were looking through a bag of 100 captive
not even notice.
you literally might not notice that there's this interesting animal. Or, oh, that looks a little bit different. Yeah, it's worth $100 or something like that.
Right.
But anyways, and by the way, feel free, guys, to ask questions in the super chats. You can hit me up. We'll be answering super chats all night. So Ozzy really took the opportunity with this Orange Dream project and really spearheaded it. I mean, this goes back, 15, 18 years, something like that. And he's turned it into a multi-million-dollar business, and not just with ball pythons, but also investing in real estate and other investments. And he's really made an empire, and to the point where, he quit his day job and now he's doing this and not just doing it full time, but multi-millionaire full-time,
right.
And so, and I'm going on a little tangent about Ozzy because I love the guy and I think the world of him, but he's also been on every podcast. That's not to say I wouldn't want to sit across the table from him and have him on this podcast and maybe ask him questions and maybe even reminisce about days before the people that have had him on every podcast know about. You know what I mean?
Right.
Talk about those early Ian days, the early days of Pete Call, because he's in that area, Paul Miles, all these other things like that. I think we could have a really interesting podcast. That being said, I don't want him to come on and say the same thing that he said in every other podcast he's been on, right? So my point of this kind of, topic is the fact that I'd like to find some people that you guys don't know about, or maybe you do know about, but are very quiet.
Right.
Interestingly enough, I've talked with Tom Crutchfield, and listen, some people hate him, some people love him. I'm not here to tell you what your opinion of Tom Crutchfield should be. I personally have been friends with Tom for a long time. He's got a very jaded past. He admits that jaded past.
Yeah,
I am a person that is a perfect example of don't judge me for what I did 12 years ago. Judge me for what I'm doing right now. And Tom did a lot of bad things. And listen, he'll boast about the fact that he smuggled the first bearded dragon into the country, and if it wasn't for him, there wouldn't be bearded dragons. Now, that's kind of a sad statement, oh my God, there's a whole bunch of bearded dragons in the country because this guy smuggled them in, and he admits to it. But at the same time, he admits it, and he's like, hey, that was 30 years ago.
Right.
I don't smuggle stuff into the country now. You know what I mean? And I'm not, so at some point, you have to be absolved for things in the past, especially when you own it and you say, hey, just like me, the things I did 10 years ago, there's a lot of things I regret tremendously. I own them, I've grown from them, and I've moved on. You know what I mean? So my point is that, but Tom is not a very tech savvy guy. So he hasn't been on all these podcasts, right?
Right.
Now, Tom is willing to fly up and do my podcast. I think it'd be a really interesting podcast.
think
Sit
it'd be
down
great,
for 2 hours and chat with Tom about everything about life. I mean, from the early days of reptiles to, obviously the partner standoff where his partner, he shot and killed his partner, I mean, there's
being in the beginning of Tiger King.
Being in the beginning of the Tiger King, so I'm not just saying Tom, I'm saying there's a lot of players like Tom that are interesting, and not all of them are old timers, now some are old timers that you guys may not even know who Gary Sipperly is. You may not know who Gary Kiesler is. You may not know who John Ruiz is. You may not know who Ernie Wagner is, and the list goes on and on. Now, not all those guys are going to be able to come out. Bob Applegate, but some of them will. And then there's some younger guys that are very interesting in the hobby that maybe haven't made the circuit around either. That I think would be interesting, as well as pulling in some zookeepers. I'd like to hear, what does a zookeeper think about the reptile trade, and maybe a reptile curator or something on that line. So my point is that I definitely want to start bringing guests in. And I definitely think that 3 out of 4 weekends we will bring guests in. I think it's that's the plans for the podcast going forward. We're and again, I'll talk kind of through the night here about our plans in the future and why, listen, there's always ups and downs to everything you do. I've been doing YouTube since 2008, been doing the vlog for 4.5 years daily, and there's been peaks and valleys like crazy through that time. But there are times where you have to start rethinking, all right, I remember one of my managers in LA said that he felt every 5 years you had to reinvent yourself on social media.
Yep.
And he said you basically had about a 5-year shelf life. Now, that's not always the case. If you look at Rhett and Link from Good Mythical More, and you look at Philip DeFranco, you look at, so many of these guys that are really OGs of YouTube, PewDiePie, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
These guys have basically more or less been almost the same content since YouTube started. You know what I mean?
You're not kidding me.
Now, some have went through iterations of different things. Look at Shane Dawson. But for the most part, is my 5 years up? I don't know, but I do think that it's time for some change, and that change doesn't necessarily mean like I'm quitting and I'm not doing anything. It just means we're going to change some things, like maybe a day or two off a week is the way to go, maybe that,
changing
maybe
the format of pieces, stuff like that.
Yeah. We, maybe, putting out 4, 5, 6 videos a week instead of 7, whatever that magical number is, makes the vlog better. I don't know. So anyways, let's hit a couple supers and we'll talk more about that and other things as we go, but go ahead.
Yeah, you got it. Rare Dog says some of the most popular vlogs are mail and packaging opening. I'd love to see one day a week, 15 minutes in the Reptarium of this and only this. Easy to tape and edit, very popular with fans. Thoughts? Well,
so the thoughts are, and I appreciate your input. The truth really is when it comes to unboxings, some unboxing is very popular. Quite frankly, mail unboxing, with the exception of Snake Discovery, very unpopular.
Yeah.
Okay. Snake Discovery does a great. She crushes the fan mail.
She'll do a 30-minute video,
and people love it. Any other person I've ever seen, even Casey Neistat, which really is the person that made mail unboxing famous.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Casey was by far the person that started the mail unboxing. And he was a great character and stuff. But even the ones that were very mail, and he would never, his videos were only 8 to 10 minutes long.
Right.
And very rarely was an unboxing more than maybe 3 to 4 minutes of that 8 minutes. But even those videos were typically not very popular compared to his other, like I'm out on a boosted board or whatever the case may be. Now, unboxing animals, some are very popular and some aren't, but I wish I could do a Snake Discovery and open up mail time for 15 minutes, because that would be beautiful.
Yeah, make our lives a lot easier.
Because we get tons of mail. We only open a very small amount of our mail online, because when you look at the analytics, when we start to unbox mail time, our audience drops off tremendously. So we do it very sparingly, and we appreciate everything that everyone sends us, and we have shit all over the place because
you have no idea,
and we love it. But yeah, unfortunately, that I wish that was a solution. And quite frankly, you're right. If you're unboxing something with like a one shot, it's easy.
Yeah.
But when you're doing like we do, like when we do an unboxing for, say, reptiles, it's actually
4 angles.
Yeah, it's 3 or 4 angles. So editing is actually pretty difficult on that, because you've got 3 or 4 different camera angles. You've got lots of cuts. You've got lots of close-ins. You've got punch and so on like that. But thank you for. I mean, I realize you're giving me a suggestion that you think is going to work, and I'm not trying to say your suggestion sucks. I'm just trying to say that, trust me, we've thought of everything we could think of, and I think what we're trying to do is get more exciting content than less exciting content.
Right.
And although there's a very small portion, again, with the exception of the outlier with Snake Discovery, there's a very small portion of people that love the unboxing. They want to see what you get. They want to see your your
interaction with your fans and all that stuff.
It's great, but for us, it's never worked. It just hasn't worked, and I don't know why. I don't know why one channel can do it and it does so successfully, and another channel does it and it doesn't do it successfully. I don't know if it's a character thing. I don't know if it's an audience thing.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but I wish that was an easy solution, but that one probably doesn't work. But again, I really appreciate your thought, and I appreciate the
suggestion.
Just suggestion. I mean, it's great and listen, there's almost 2,000 comments on today's video. I read from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. I read as many as I possibly could. I probably read about 800 comments.
Wow.
Responded to at least 200 or 300 of them. And listen, there's a lot of great info there. A lot of great info. Just like your comment is really great, and it's something to consider. So there's no suggestion that I just throw away.
Beautiful. Emily says, I personally love the daily vlogs, but I do see where it can become repetitive. I like seeing you build and work with things like Elvis. I need these videos a lot of days to boost my mood every night when I watch.
Well, listen, and this is the tough thing, Jay. I haven't even talked to you because we didn't really talk since you came back down.
Yeah.
The toughest thing that I dealt with when reading almost 1,000 comments today, was how many people said, please don't stop because I need you every day.
Yeah.
And that tears my heart apart. It like tears my fucking heart apart because I want to be there for that person every single day. And I'm not going away. Let me just make that 100%
yeah,
clear.
please.
We are not stopping the vlog. We are not stopping going. We're considering maybe cutting a day or two out just because we think that we can produce better content, less repetitive content. The other thing we're talking about is, as a matter of fact, we talked about, a lot of you guys don't even know I do Patreon, but I do Patreon. And so what we're going to do is, you figure we have 160 ball python clutches. We've already shown about 50-ish, 45-ish. I think that what we're going to do is the next 100 clutches, let's say 110 clutches, we might show 30 or 40 on the vlog. We've decided. But the other ones we're actually going to put out on Patreon. So we're going to film them just like we'd film the vlog, and we're going to put them on Patreon for our patrons, So if you're into egg cutting or egg collecting,
baby snakes, whatever
the case is, we're going to put some exclusive content on Patreon to give that audience some exclusivity.
Because we have to do it every day anyway. Might as well film it. We're right there with cameras, and we can give you, if you do like that content, you can.
Yeah, and you got to remember, we're going to cut all 160 clutches, but we may only show 40 or 50 that we cut. And the reason we're going to cut all of them is because you never know when there's a twin or a two-headed snake or something really radically different than we don't expect, and we want to be able to document that, in the normal vlog, and then if it turns out we cut the clutch and it's like, it's a bunch of bananas and pinstripes, then we just push it out onto Patreon, and I think it'll be good. But it does really, it's a very difficult thing for me because I don't think anyone understands how much I love every single person that supports me. You know what I mean? Like I'm not living this life without you people, and to think that I may pull a day away, and that day maybe you don't wake up and get to watch the vlog and maybe start the day with that positivity. That hurts me in the heart, like you can't believe. And that's probably maybe the only thing that's kept the vlog going as long as it has.
I wouldn't doubt that at all.
That might be the only major thing that keeps me motivated every day to do it every single day. Because if I took that factor away, I may have stopped doing it 7 days a week a while ago. And again, I'm not saying we're gonna shoot a video and I'm gonna make a decision sometime by early next week exactly what the vlog does. That's best for all of us, everybody. But again, crystal clear, I am not stopping vlogging. You will not see me just go away from YouTube for a long, long time. There's a lot of stories that I need to tell that are coming up. The expansion, just the list goes on and on and on. But I think that there's a good possibility that we may not be 7 days a week soon. It's not going to happen this week, but depending on the decision, it could happen soon after that. But again, it's not going to be anything radical. It's not going to be anything radical. I want to be there for you. And we've talked about, like, if we, like, let's say we decide to go 6 days a week or 5 days a week or whatever our decision is, we might actually even like put a short out on the days that we're not going to vlog, so that you still have a fun little content, and then I can still interact with you. I can still comment back and forth. So every day I can still have some interaction with you guys. So I don't think it's like a hard, like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, of course not.
So.
Tiffany says, hi guys, got my tattoo done. It hurt pretty bad.
Yeah, I saw that.
I could send Jay a pic on Messenger if you guys want to see it. Also, son had soy, apples, pork, and cats added to the allergies.
Wow. Yeah, I thought, Tiffany, if I didn't comment back to you today on your comment, because it was a crazy comment day today, which I love, by the way. I really did appreciate it. I read that earlier, that you had a tattoo, that it hurt, that your son had 4 more allergies. So if I didn't comment back, I apologize, because I meant to comment back about it, or maybe even started to comment back and didn't get through it. But congrats on the tat. Sorry about your son having more allergies, but it didn't sound like it's that terribly bad. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, those are any allergies are bad, but
yeah, of course.
But my question, can they do anything about that? Don't they give like allergy shots or something like that? So you slowly build up
like histamines and antihistamines. I don't actually know. So I went to an allergy doctor when I was younger, and they did the whole thing where they do like 400 needles on your back, and they prick you.
Yeah.
And And I don't remember anything like where they said that they could fix it. I think, there might be.
Well, my brother was really. By the way, it's 6666.
Ooh, my favorite.
That's super chat, baby.
That's my favorite number.
My brother did go to the allergist. Again, this is now 40 years ago, so I'm assuming technology has changed a little bit. But yeah, he would go every week, and they would give him like little teeny tiny microdoses of the things that he was allergic to build up his tolerance to those allergies. Again, I don't know if they still do that, but or if it's just like, hey, he's eventually going to grow out of it. Like I said, my nephew was very, very bad. I mean, as bad as it sounds like Tiffany's son is, and now he's 13 or 14. He still has allergies, but not nearly as I mean, most things he can now, like he can eat eggs now, he can drink milk now, he can, things that like literally would send him to the hospital, 5 years ago. So keep that hope.
Hell yeah. Mama Tomsky.
Mama.
She says, hi, Brian and Jay. Just wanted to say what a deep vlog it was. You're loved by all, but it's what you guys want, and we'll support you. Your vlog is epic.
Well, thank you. Obviously, we appreciate you. Obviously, Jay appreciates you.
That's my mom.
And we'll see you next month. And yeah, listen, there's a lot of things to consider. There's what's good for us. There's what's good for our supporters. It's what's good for the business. There's a lot of it's never an easy
it's not
decision.
one-dimensional,
But that being said, Jay and I had a long conversation yesterday about a lot of things, and
of course.
And it bothers, listen, I don't care who you are, and I'm gonna. This is analogous to say a millionaire, right?
Yeah.
If you're a millionaire and you have $1 million, you want 2 million, and if you want 2 million, you want 10 million. And so numbers are always going to affect people. With people that say, I don't really even care if anyone watches, that's either you're like out on your own island or it's bullshit. Of course it matters how many people watch. You put a tremendous amount of energy, money, time, effort, everything else into producing something. And when you have 100,000 people watch every single day, the video that you put out, and then all of a sudden that number cuts in by 40%, it's going to affect you mentally, right? I mean, it's not like you're going to go, oh, it doesn't matter.
It's fine.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, when I started vlogging, if 50 to 70,000 people watched every day, I would have been ecstatic, But when you raise to 100 to 150,000 per day, and then all of a sudden it drops back down, it starts to make you feel like, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
I'm doing, there's something that I'm not doing right, And there is a small factor of YouTube cutting the algorithm back in order to push shorts. That's part of the issue. There's part of the issue that the world is opening up and people are getting outside and watching less YouTube, 100%. But that doesn't mean that, when I look at other channels, they're not seeing a 40% decrease. So that's more inclusive to what we're doing. And we are also seeing more comments. Now, granted, you can't look at, if you get 500 comments and there's 3 comments that say your vlog is getting boring because you collect eggs every single day. The other 497 people are like, I love you collecting a snake's egg every day. So it's not going to make a decision based on the minority. But at that being said, there's some value to that. If more than one person thinks it, how many people think it that aren't saying it?
Right, and you got to remember that, the commenter, people that comment on videos, that is a demo. You know what I'm saying? So those are people that do love snake stuff. If they're invested enough to type to you, they're into the stuff you make no matter what it is.
Yeah.
So it's a little jaded.
So you do have to at least start thinking about it and then start soul searching about, is it right? Is it, and I do think we Jay and I both agreed that we have become more repetitive. And I think Jay talked about, I think what you said, which made me really think is, if Mr. Beast put out a 12-minute video and 3.5 minutes of every 12 minutes was almost the exact same video, you would probably not watch Mr. Beast as much, right? Yeah. And that's basically what happens. Even though we're collecting a different clutch and different clutch, still, but again, some of these commenters, again, they're the extreme. They'd be like, well, half your vlog is the same vlog. Yeah. No, it's not. We put out a 12-minute vlog and 3 minutes is collecting eggs, So it's not half the vlog. It's a quarter of the vlog, But the point taken is that there is a portion of the vlog that to people that don't really understand or are really engaged in the genetics behind, this lemon blast extreme gene Enchi, to them it's just another snake.
It's a ball python.
It's like, there's 6 more eggs, there's 8 more eggs, and I get it. And
we love that stuff.
Yeah, and
we
I love it.
That stuff.
And in the past, listen, the first couple years that I filmed every single clutch, and I filmed every egg cutting, and I filmed everything, and people loved it. But now we're 5 year almost. This is our 5th season of vlogging.
How many eggs do you think you've cut on fucking camera?
Oh my gosh, it's thousands, tens of thousands. Yeah, probably tens of thousands.
It's crazy.
And so I get it. People that probably 4 years ago were like, I can't wait to see what Brian's going to cut today. Now a lot of those people are like, yeah, I saw Brian cut 8,000 eggs before. I'm done with it. And so now we just have to make it more exciting, and that's so there's a lot of things to consider. It's not this easy shit. Just do what you want, Brian. You're fine.
You gotta be great.
I wish it was that easy. There's a lot of things to consider, but we're going to make the best decision that we can make for us and for you, and we'll let you know.
Absolutely. Clistia.
Hi,
a girl.
Clistia. She's upstairs at the Reptarium.
She was upstairs.
Oh, she left.
She goes, hey, Brian and Jay, sorry my son was getting overheated, so we did have to head home, but I am so happy I got to meet you and Lori. I had a blast.
Clistia, it was great to meet you. I'm glad. By the way, Verde peed on her.
Good. That's awesome. Good
at least you can take that home with you, too.
Stinky.
Yeah. But today there was a couple. I had Toothless didn't pee on anyone, but he almost peed on someone.
Oh, he loves doing that.
Yeah, he loves unleashing on people. As a matter of fact, I pulled it out, and the first thing I said is the only thing you have to be careful about is he will pee on you, and then all of a sudden he just exploded. So and then after that, he like his hemipenes, he kept on pushing his hemipenes out like he wanted to poo more on people. So I got to get that guy in check. I don't know exactly what he's doing, but it was nice meeting Clistia. Every time that I meet you guys in person at the Reptarium, that whether you comment on my videos or you comment on the podcast, it's really amazing to put the face to the name, and it's great. And today, it's nice because I can see people's whole face. I think Clistia had a mask on at first, but we got a chance to take a picture without a mask on, so it's nice to put a real face to the name. So it was great to have you here.
Our boy, brother Clint.
I just was talking about
you.
We
were literally just talking about you right before the podcast.
Yeah.
He says, brother Clint here. One of the hats I wear was formerly called ufology.
Ufology.
Now ufology. Aerial phenomenology. I'd love to chat on that and my 30 years of research.
I think that'd be great.
Especially for the times.
Reach out to me when you're ready to come up. Whenever you're ready to come up, we need to have you up. Period.
Yeah.
Just tell me when you're ready on a Saturday night. And that Saturday night is yours, 100%. You're a great guest. You're a great guy. And obviously, now, interestingly enough, for those, I'm a big UFO guy or UAP guy now.
I know.
And they do say, and this makes you even more concerned about this governmental,
release
is basically they've already said there will be no conclusion from it.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what they're saying is that we don't know if it's alien, and we don't know if it's China or Russia, but we're not sure.
Right.
And they've said is basically they haven't released a report, but
pretty much it's not ours.
They preemptively released the report. Preemptively they're saying what's going to be in the report is that we don't know, and we think it could be Russia or China, or we think it possibly could be alien, but we don't know. And they did say that China and Russia have been they do know they've been, and this is the part that I don't like, and it smells fishy to me.
Yep.
Is that they say they don't know, but they know that China and Russia have been putting a lot of money into hypersonic technology. Now, the question, the reason I think that sounds stinky is that if Russia and China are doing it, you don't tell me we aren't doing it.
Yeah, duh.
Come on.
How did you get the information? You hacked it, stole all the ideas, so you obviously know.
We have been doing, I'm sure, hypersonic
for 40 years.
Yeah, for 10 years longer than those guys have. So if Russia, there's no way in the world Russia and China have fucking craft that are flying around interdimensionally, going through water and space, and we don't have that technology, or we don't know about that technology. So now, to be honest with you, if they're going to release this report saying they don't know, I actually think they do know. And I do think that there's a chance it could be our government's technology.
Yeah. I will say, though, there is a chance that they could be working on stuff that we're not, because they did just have, they lit that sun up.
Yeah.
That we're not doing nuclear fusion. We've only done fission in the United States, and the fact that they're doing that's crazy. I mean,
no, there's no. I'm not saying that they can't, but I'm just saying.
I know what you mean.
I'm just saying, like,
we would be working on it too.
And if they did, we would know they did.
Right.
You know, like we know about the sun.
Right. Exactly.
We know about the sun that they're doing. You know, between all the hacking, the spying, the satellites, you're telling me that they're flying. You're telling me that in China there's some secret base that we can't see from satellite that are storing alien type craft.
It's in Antarctica, brah. Come on, man.
Come on, you give me a break, man. Yeah, I mean, you know, listen, I still would love to think that they're aliens.
Me too.
But I don't believe the government one bit, and I think if the government releases saying we just don't know what they are, you're fucking lying to us. You are lying to us, and that's just the reality. I mean, and that bums me out because I thought for the first time maybe we might get a glimpse of, all right, we have at least they could say like, hey, we have a pretty good idea that this is alien technology.
I know. I was so hyped,
or interdimensional technology. You know, something on that lines, because you know there has been a lot of talk about that. The fact that there could be, you know, some sort of a time gap. You know, where maybe you know, two different multiverses somehow collide through, you know, some rift in time space or something like that. You know, that would at least make me feel like, all right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But this, we don't know.
Yeah, it's like, come on, dude. Then why even get everyone all hyped up?
Yeah. It's
because then to me it seems like you're just distracting everybody from some other crazy shit.
Yeah, it's deflection.
You know?
It's deflection, man. It's
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's deflection.
Morph Mixology, our buddy Jason.
Jason, what's up, dude?
He says, hey, Snake fan. Brian, congrats on the first pumpkin clutch.
Thank you.
Looks great. Also, are you helping Joey with the reptile parts of his new aquarium gallery?
Well, first off, thank you for the pumpkin stuff. I can't wait till they crawl out of the egg.
I can't wait
what the future is of that thing. As far as Joey, I have not talked to Joey. He's a good friend of mine. I've seen that he's doing an aquarium. I didn't even know he was adding reptiles, to be honest with you. So that's news to me. I will have to reach out to him. Of course, that's Joey of King of DIY. Yeah. He's been on my vlog a few times. He's vlogged, you know, on his vlog about me a few times. He's a great guy, and we've been friends for a long time, since the beginning of my vlog. And it's pretty cool that he's opening up a public aquarium.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Now, can I help him? I could certainly help him with a ton of information and guidance. I can't get any animals to him up in Canada, unfortunately. So so that's going to be on him. But again, I didn't even know he was doing reptiles, so this is brand new news to me. So it'd be interesting. I'll text him after the podcast and just ask him what he's thinking. And if I can be of any help, I would love to, because he's helped me out and I love the guy to death. I think he's a really good dude.
Michael says, happy Saturday, fellas. Good to be here for for my favorite podcast, Snake Talk. Adding great guests will be awesome. Thanks for the good, bad, and ugly.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you too. And I do think that having the right guest will be very interesting.
Yeah.
And again, it's not a down on anybody other's guess. But I think it's, you know,
well, it's like Neil deGrasse Tyson. I've heard everything that dude knows how to say.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Anything he's said on an interview, I've heard 40 times.
Right. Yeah. You get to a point where you're like, okay, well, you know, you can interview people differently. But I do think that there is some value of having someone across the table from you, as opposed to most of the podcasts out there, reptile podcasts, are via Zoom, you know, or what, you know, most guys use StreamYard, which I think I've never liked that platform. I've never liked the kind of, it feels very, you know, it's 2005. Yeah, it just doesn't feel great, you know. But I've said the same thing. Like, you know, I love Joe Rogan, and I listen. Yeah, the Joe Rogans. Yeah. Not Josh Rogan, but Joe Rogan. So but when he has a Zoom guest on, I tend to not be interested in it.
Never watch.
You know, so I think that doesn't work real well. But I think I think that some of the guests that maybe have made their circuit around all the podcasts, you know, getting them in the room might be interesting, because we're going to have a dynamic that they're not going to have elsewhere. So I'm not going to rule out like, oh, well, this guy's been on 5 different podcasts, so I don't want him on the podcast. It's not that at all. You know, if I have an interesting character that I think I can bring, and listen, it's also about, you know, my knowledge and pulling out knowledge from them, you know,
stories,
and stories and stuff like that. So I think we can do some good things. But I think guests will take this podcast to the next level, where I want it to be.
R&B Reptiles says,
What's up,
I'd love to see a behind the scenes of what it takes to produce the vlog.
It's funny, and this is, I know this is Ryan, because Ryan's the one that does it. By the way, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
Ben and Ryan are both great guys. Me and Ryan have become closer friends recently, talking a lot of crypto and stuff like that, which has been interesting to say the least.
Currency or zoology?
Yeah.
One?
Cryptozoology might be next topic.
I feel like zoology is becoming more popular, and currency's going down.
It's interesting. I still believe in cryptocurrency, but I do. The only thing that, and I'm not going to get in. I promise I will lose half my audience if I talk too much about this. The only thing that concerns me about it right now is the ransomware stuff.
Yeah.
And I wonder if the government is going to really crack down on crypto because of the payment for ransomware is coming in crypto. So, you take away the payment, and then maybe,
people are less likely to do it, right?
Yeah, because if you have to bank transfer it, they're going to know where that bank transfer is going, right?
Yep.
But right now in crypto, there's no way to trace it, so people can be like, you better send me X amount of Bitcoin or I'm going to shut your business down. And the government may crack down on that, so that's a tough one. But as far as behind the scenes, we've done that a couple times, and I love that stuff.
I do too.
I love every other content creator, Casey Neistat, Marcus Brownlee, Peter McKinnon. I mean, all these guys, when they do a kind of gear / behind the scenes, what it takes, I fucking love it, man.
Yeah.
I just want to see what's going on. But I can tell you, we've done it. I've done it personally before Jay was here.
Yeah.
Have we ever done it?
We've done it twice.
Yeah, we've done it twice. So we've done it twice, and I've done it maybe 3 or 4 times before Jay was here. Worst videos we've ever put out.
Yeah,
as far as viewership. I mean, literally, you might as well not have put a video out that day. And it sucks because I think that's super interesting.
Especially to your viewers, wow, all this goes into what the 15 minutes I'm watching.
Because if people actually see what we do, they'd be shocked. They'd be shocked to see, when we cut a clutch of eggs, we're literally, basically cutting that clutch 4 times.
Yep.
Because of different camera angles and different things, and we're stopping and starting because of different shots. And
we're well-oiled machine over here.
And that's just a clutch of eggs. That's not to mention everything else that we do. So, and I think that's one of the things that Jay and I, again, talked about a lot when it comes to the kind of the kick in the ass I feel that we've had in the vlog is that, we did get away from some of the kind of toys that we've had, we haven't drone very much lately. We certainly don't use the GoPro / action cam as much as we used to, hardly ever. We don't use, the Y-roll. We don't use, I can't remember the last time we pulled out the Osmo action cam,
right.
Or pocket cam. So there's a lot of things that I think you're going to see us do again that we got away. And I'll when we come out with the video about what our decision is, I'm going to explain all of this, why we stopped doing it, and I'll explain now what the fuck.
Yeah, it don't matter.
Basically, listen, guys, I was mentally fucked for 14 months, right? I mean, I was a shell of a human being, and it's not like I'm 100% right now, but I'm close to 100%. I'm as close to 100% as I've been in many years, to be totally honest with you. The amount of therapy and work and meditation and mindfulness and gratefulness and everything else I've done over the last 14, 15 months has got me to a pretty decent mental spot. And I think I'll be in an even better mental spot in the next months coming, because I'm going to continue to work on this mental health. Again, I talk about going to the mental health gym, and that's what I do, So my point is that, we stopped doing a lot of those extra things because I just needed to get through it. You know what I mean? I couldn't mentally handle doing more than we did. So we started getting away from the things that made it really interesting, the cool shots and this and that. And we're going to bring all that back now. I mean, that stuff you're going to see back in the vlog. You're going to see stuff that we haven't seen in the last 12 to 15 months. Regardless of how many vlogs we do a week, you're going to still see that stuff coming back.
Hell yeah. Lisa says, we do need you because you're amazing. Love that you take time to show us the fans that you care. Yep. You're a real inspiration. The whole crew sending love from far away.
Well, I appreciate you, Lisa. I don't know how far away you are, but I do appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone. I mean, again, I know some people that are successful celebrity. Not that I'm a celebrity, but they're celebrities that will say they appreciate, but I don't think they really do. I've been around celebrities that are they'll meet people, they'll shake their hand, they'll take a picture, and then afterwards go what a pain in the ass. I just wish these people would leave me alone. I am not that guy.
No.
You know what I mean? I'm the opposite. Like, I will literally
talk to you for
yeah. I mean, Lori drives Lori crazy when I just run into someone on the street and like I'll be like talking to him for 15 minutes, and Lori's like, "Come on, we're literally going in for dinner. Can you stop or whatever?" You know, and so I really do appreciate you beyond belief.
B&H Reptile says maybe you can do more videos on working with monitors and how you personally train them and tame them down, and just ball training. Do some in that area.
I agree. Yeah, that's
my favorites too.
It'll be great stuff. That's something we've talked about doing, and it's something we'll absolutely do more of in the future. You know, something we got away from a little bit. It is a little bit different because it's hard to tell that story a whole bunch of times, right? You know what I mean? You kind of tell the story, and then after that, it's like, okay, we've told the story. But but I think that, you know, we're going to work harder on that.
Find new ways to introduce it, right? Because, I mean, even if you just put, you know, like the little things that like the dog show, dogs run through the little tunnels.
Sure.
Like maybe we get something like that, or even out of cardboard, and we just do little obstacle courses, something, you know?
Yeah, there's always something that we can do, and I think that it's pretty amazing to show the intelligence of these reptiles.
Right.
So I think... yeah, I mean, I agree with you. We're gonna bring that back, and we're gonna try to do more of that stuff for sure.
Becky Gallant says, "Can't wait to see more of the pumpkin gene."
Thank you. I can't either. I'm excited about it. A little bit nervous because I don't know what's going to happen. I wish we had pumpkin to pumpkin because that really tells the whole story. This year we're going to. I think we're going to have 5 clutches. We just cut the first clutch. We have, and the first clutch was a pretty banger, but every clutch will be good. You know, like there's no.
Yeah.
I mean, all 5 females are pretty cool females, and they're all different.
Yeah, no fluffy.
But these all 5 will make it into the egg cutting and vlog and also the egg pulling part. I think we've already got 3 down, maybe 2 or 3 down, and we got 2 more to go or something like that. But I wish the end story is probably a year or 2 away when we can actually hopefully produce a super version so we can really see. If I were going to guess, I would say that it's in the Orange Dream complex, okay? Because it does a lot of similar things, or at least appears to be doing a lot of similar things than the Orange Dream. It looks a little different, so I don't think it's an Orange Dream, but it's, again, analogous to, say, a lesser isn't a Mojave, you know what I mean? Like, they're in the same complex, but they're not the same. Like, no one's going to ever mistake a lesser for a Mojave. Now, people will mistake a lesser for the butter because they're the same thing. But so I'm not saying I think this is an Orange Dream, but I think it's similar to an Orange Dream. And I almost wonder if you bred Orange Dream to pumpkin, if you might produce a super version of the 2, like right? It's like if you breed a black pastel and a cinnamon pastel, which are completely different things. They look different. They you know, they're definitely, again, if you see a real black pastel and a real cinnamon, they are definitely not the same animal. It's unlike a banana and a coral where you can't tell the difference, or a sugar or a butter or a sugar calico. I mean, these are 2 different animals, but if you breed a cinnamon and a black pastel together, you get super black pastel cinnamons, right? And so I wonder if that may be the case. And again, this is way too early. I am just speculating on the whole thing. So we'll see. But in the meantime, I'm just excited to work with it. And for me, it's a different world because in the past, when I developed new genes, it was really business related, right? It was like, you know, I mean, it was financially rewarding, all this other stuff. This one is just for fun. You know what I mean? I'm just having fun with it. And, I don't know if I'll sell. As a matter of fact, Jason, our buddy, I told him point blank, and I'm going to say it live right here. I told him that I'd give him the first crack at it, you know, because he was interested in it. But I don't know if I'll sell any. I don't know. I mean, I might hang on to him for another year. You know, sometime. I mean, what's probably the best, if you go back to Ozzy, Ozzy really set himself up so that no one could catch him on the Orange Dream stuff, right? You know, I mean, he held back enough stuff so that no one could really catch him, and that's what made him so successful. A little bit different situation because Ozzy's doing it, you know, as a business. Mine is still a business, obviously, but I'm not financially driven by that business. So now it's a matter of, if I hold back, it's more of a matter of me just wanting to create things and not seeing other people create them first, more than it is me making the money on it. You know what I mean? But I am excited about the gene.
Amanda says, "Bro, you're doing a lot. I love this, but I get how every day is just, you know, every day." Anyway, you, Kevin, Emily from Snake Discovery in Savannah, all y'all are doing great work, and it's appreciated.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, and I'm great that I'm in that group of people. I love everyone in that group, and it is a lot. It is a lot. I mean, it's a lot. It can be daunting, you know. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. You know, I love what I do. right? I love filming. I love interacting with you guys. I love working with animals. I love the reptarium. I love building. I love expanding. I love every aspect. I love it. But it's a lot. It's a lot for anybody. And you always have to have that. I talk about balance. Listen, I had a big wake-up call this last year, right? When I was mentally so screwed with anxiety. And life wasn't worth living at all, period. I'm telling you, if I wasn't a stronger person than I am, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I would not be on this planet. Guaranteed, 100%, I would not be on this planet. But thankfully, I got through it. It was a tough year and a half, but that was a huge wake up call. And the one thing that it did make me realize is that my balance in life was so bad, so bad, where I literally work all the time. Yeah, I'm working on things I love, but I am working constantly. And so, I do need to get that balance to where now what do? I don't know. If you ask me like, okay, Brian, if you had time off, what would you do? The answer would be like, I don't know what I would do because I don't really do anything else. I love animals. It's almost like funny, like, hey, if you had a day off and you could do anything, what would you do? I'd be like, I'd like to go to the zoo. You know what I mean? It's like, what? You work at a zoo, reptile zoo. Like, you want to go to a zoo? Like, that's what I love. You know what I mean? Like, I would do this on my day off. I would do it for forever. And so, but at the same time, it is a lot. It is a lot. And it's probably more than most people could probably ever imagine, the daily grind. Jay is one of the first people that I've been around. He's been with me for a couple years now that actually could keep the pace up. And that was, he's been with me for that long, and for really 12 to 14 months of that time, I was a shell of myself. As I'm rebooting and becoming myself again, and the energy is coming back, trust me, it's my engines go, and when my engines go, it's hard to stop. So, but yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. But yes, it is a lot.
Betsy says, hi, I love your channel and your animals. I hope I will get to go to the zoo and say hi sometime soon. By the way, I have been watching Seinfeld. Maybe she meant to say since I was 6, and now I'm 11.
Yeah, I think it was 6. Yeah, that's what I think she said. Although I love Seinfeld too, by the way.
Yeah.
But I hope you do get to come to the zoo sometime. I think it would be really fun. I think you would love it. It's pretty magical, really. Again, I was up there for 45 minutes before, as we were open, and the last 2 hours of the night, I'll go up and spend time with everyone upstairs. And it is to me anyways, it's a very magical place. And it was cute. Today we had it's something we rarely do. Interestingly enough, there was a party of 20 kids. 20 people total. So I think there was maybe 15 kids and 5 adults that they didn't have a birthday party, which is normal, where it's before hours they have a birthday. It was, matter of fact, we had 2 birthday parties today before hours, but this one was for the first hour, they had like 15 kids, 5 adults, but then they also rented the birthday party room during open hours, which is something that we do offer, where you could come in and still do your birthday thing in the birthday room, but then you could also be around in the public area, but you also are with the rest of the public, which is only 40 people. So half the people the first hour were this group, and then the other half are people where they didn't know, but then they could go and actually have the birthday party room and get away. It was super cool. But to see those people so excited, and they did alligator feedings, they did Elvis feedings, they did, they did tortoise feedings.
That's awesome.
They fed Bowser. They did they got the full Monty. They got their real experience, and it was really magical. So I hope you can come and visit sometime.
Timothy says Ron St Pierre has some really nice anoles and Cuban nights. Yeah. I remember you saying you wanted to get some more. Fingers crossed my night anole eggs hatch.
Yeah. I hope yours do too. And Ron St Pierre is a perfect example of a guy I want on the podcast.
Yeah, I've never heard of him.
Because this guy is a legend in the business. He has done so much. He had the first albino tegus. He's crushing the anole game when no one else gives a shit. He had an albino anole, just carolinensis, so the green anoles you find down there, whatever. he had an albino. I don't know if he bred them or not. I have no idea if he bred albinos. But and again, do I think there's a market for normal brown anole, albino brown anoles or green anoles, Carolinensis? No, there's probably not. But it's kick ass, and he does some cool stuff, and I love it. So that guy needs to get on the podcast because that he will blow us away with the shit. He's
awesome.
like he's the new age Burt Langenwerf.
Oh, get out, really?
Yeah, he is the new age Burt Langenwerf.
The lizard man.
So yeah, he's really is. And again, I love that this guy brought him up because most people never heard who Ron St Pierre is, and I think he is. I'm reaching out to Ron actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's got to come up to the podcast.
Tiffany came back and said, one reason I'm excited to go to the Reptarium is because you've never seen me.
That's right. I have never seen
you.
You
don't even know what she looks like.
I have no idea. You could come in, you could spend the whole night, and I wouldn't even have known you were here.
Oh, my God, you're so right.
So it's but what was cool about Clistia today is that me, myself, her, and her son were all wearing the same shirt.
Get the hell out. They had the Fear Me shirt?
The Fear Me reptile.
Hell yeah.
Reptile shirt. I was like, we're twins, man. We're twins. So that's cool. So Tiffany, when you come, tell me what shirt you're wearing, and we'll be twinsies for the night.
Amber says, vlogs and podcasts have helped me pull myself out of major depression. Been watching for years now, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Amber. And that's again, I go back to what I was saying earlier about the level of responsibility I feel towards people because I know how it feels to wake up in the morning and feel terrible. With me as anxiety, depression, very similar. In every minute of listen, I was watching a bunch of British baking shows at night, and that I felt the same way about them as some people feel about my vlog. I could then somehow just for that hour, 40 something minutes, I would get lost in the show. You know what I mean? And I'd watch this baking show that Lori loves, and for a minute I'd forget that I was anxious. Now as soon as it was done, I would go back to being anxious again. So I understand, and I take that responsibility unbelievably serious. And I don't want to let you or anyone else down. But I will be here. I promise you, I'm not going anywhere. But there's going to be some changes. There has to be some changes, both to the production side and potentially the schedule wise.
Beautiful. Lacey says, first trip to the Reptarium yesterday. We left a small gift of our bees, honey. Honey taffy with lava salt and medicated pain bomb. To clarify, nothing has psychoactive effects. Just don't eat the bomb. Haha. Much love for you and the team.
Interesting. Yeah, because we were talking about that.
Yeah, and I CBD green.
So is it? But it says cannabis. So
CBD is from cannabis,
right?
But
so it's
usually
CBD.
When you see cannabis, though, it would be psychoactive. But I think this is CBD.
Right. And that's great. I mean, we use CBD lotion. I don't use it that often, but Laura uses it every single day on her foot. And she loves it. So number one, thank you. What was the other one was honey, right?
Yeah.
And so I wonder what that is, message us again, just hit the message or something like that. Let me know or email us or either message Jay Tomsky on Instagram. Because I don't know what to do with the stuff. You know what I mean? I understand the balm part. I get just rub on whatever you've but what's the honey and what's the taffy? I don't know, and it scares me. I'm real freaky about that shit.
Yeah, you guys don't get it.
Yeah, I get really weird about that stuff. I'll it's like completely placebo for me, right? I put that shit on and I'd immediately think
it could be normal honey.
Yeah, it could be honey, and I think I was stoned. So
this isn't acting right.
Yeah, I don't feel so good.
Please.
These bees had some shit going on.
These bees were pollinating pot plants.
Oh my gosh, what's going on?
Yeah, no, but
I'd love to know more about it, please.
Amber came back to say, Brian, please get Carrie King on the podcast.
Yeah.
Slayer.
So I reached out to Carrie. I did reach out to Carrie about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and we're friends, and so I texted him, and he said he was in the studio. They're recording some things for a new band he's working on, so it seems like that's like his focus right now. I will say this: I really would like to get Carrie on, and he's a good, we've been friends for many years. I've never seen him on a podcast, and I don't know if he does them. I don't know. Carrie's I think my gut feeling is I could pull it, but I think I could definitely pull it if he's in Detroit. Will he fly here for a podcast? I don't know. I just don't know. Like hard. I said, I've hung out with Carrie many nights, and He's a pretty quiet guy, weirdly enough. You know what I mean? That being said, loves to talk snakes. Loves to. I think that if I called him and said, hey, I want you on and I want to talk about Slayer, he'd probably turn me down.
Yeah.
I call him and say, let's talk carpet pythons and emerald tree boas. I think he's on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so trust me, I mean, he's on the list and I would love to land that. So absolutely love to land. And I think the world of Carrie. I think he's a great musician, but I think he's a great reptile guy. And I've told the story many times and I'd love to hear the story from him.
Yeah.
That, for many years, one of his best friends was a guy named Lloyd Lemke. Unfortunately, we can't have Lloyd on because Lloyd passed away. But Lloyd was an old-time, gruffy, I love this dude. He's a colubrid mainly breeder, but he did breed boas and pythons his life. But he was old-timer dude. Fortunately, died of brain cancer. But Carrie and him were like best of friends. I mean, like literally, they talked almost every day from what Lloyd told me. And Lloyd was the biggest Bible thumper you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I love talking to Lloyd, because Lloyd was one of those guys that didn't want to talk to anyone. But when you got a relationship with him, which I did, thankfully, it's almost like you didn't want to. This was pre-text. This was like back in the day. And you almost didn't want to call him because you knew you were going to be on the phone for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, he would just talk
commitment.
and talk. And we talk snakes, but then he would always bring it back to the Bible. And I love talking to him. He was amazing. And as a matter of fact, there was an interesting thing. I talked to him like 2 days before he passed away. And it was funny because I talked to him for literally like an hour and a half. We talked about, all kinds of different things. And then the next day or the day after he passed away, and I talked to his wife, Sunny, and she told me that, get this, Jay, the day he talked to me, he was blind. He had gone completely blind from cancer.
Yeah.
And he was in so much pain he could hardly walk. But yet he talked to me for an hour and a half and never complained one time.
Oh, I love that.
I didn't even know he was in pain. Didn't even know. And he
That's
died
so
like 2 days.
crazy,
So
man.
here's my point is that I would love to know the biggest death metal band, satanic band in the world, how that relationship went with this Christian guy and how they were so much friends. And Carrie
That's a great story.
It's a great thing. And Carrie's a great, listen, I can't say enough about Carrie. I can't imagine what that guy has seen in his life.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? He's
Dude.
been, I tell the story that I was 13 years old and I bought a front row ticket to a place called the Royal Oak Music Theater to watch Slayer.
It's so funny,
Right?
man. That's
13
crazy.
and I bought a ticket to be front row for Slayer. Coolest show ever. And then all these years later, we're buddies, and that's
huge.
That's amazing. So yes, I would try. That was a long dissertation
Dude,
about
it's
it, but
all good.
I hope I can.
You know the
get
crazy
him on.
part? It's your podcast.
Yeah.
So you can say whatever you want.
That's true. And I don't have a guest, so they can't even stop
Can't
me.
even stop you, baby. Melissa says Joey's trying to get a nerd black dragon. Love you guys.
Yeah, the hard part is I think that's great. And I can certainly help him facilitate it, through Kevin or whomever. The problem is just Sighties, getting him out. And it's not hard to get Sighties and export. I mean,
it's just
no
time.
big deal. Yeah, it's just, he's going to have to, they're both going to have to apply for Sighties, American Sighties, Canadian Sighties. And then it's just going to have to be, exported through a 4177. But it can be done, 100%. Yeah, 100%. So I'll call Joey and I'll talk to him. And I don't know if Joey's ever, I'm assuming Joey's never imported a CITES animal before.
Right.
I don't know if fish can be CITES, but I don't know
how in
I
Canada,
don't know
like-
much about it. So I'd have to see it. And CITES is a convention of endangered species is what it basically is. And so you need CITES for Appendix 1 or Appendix 2 endangered animals.
Got it. Emily came back to say my reptile army mask finally came in the other
Nice.
day. 2 days after the reptile show in Des Moines.
Des Moines, yep.
Whoa, I didn't know that's how Des Moines was
Yeah, that's
spelled.
how that's Des Moines.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Iowa. I'm hoping to buy more merch soon. That's fucking
Awesome.
insane.
I love it. And, listen, I hope we can all burn our masks in the future, but
I'm keeping one
But
and hiding it.
I will keep I like the Reptile Army mask because they're super comfortable. They're adjustable. I love them, I mean, thankfully I haven't had to wear a mask. As a matter of fact, I wore a mask last night for the first time in like 2 weeks.
For what? What did you do?
I went into a restaurant that they
made
it
you
was
wear
a
it?
carry out only, and you couldn't go in without having a mask on.
all good.
But I'm vaccinated, so here in Michigan and many states, when you're vaccinated, fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask, indoor or outdoor, because they've realized that the viral load is so low. Even if you do catch it asymptomatically, very hard for you to pass it along, almost impossible for you to pass it. So they're there's virtually no risk of having a mask on or not having a mask on. But yeah, I wore a mask last night and I realized how much it sucked.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, I'm never doing that shit again. But I just want
crazy.
one in like a pocket of a jacket
that
I won't look at until 40 years from now. And I'll be like, do you remember when we had to wear these masks?
Shit, I found this mask.
Dude. That's so crazy, man. That's one of those things.
Insane, right?
Yeah. Our boy Dev, Wild Boy Dev says, what's going on, fellas? Hope all is good. Just over here soaking taco and sarabi.
The Kaboom Viper, I talked to Dev today, and he said that he found a male that's the same locality as Taco, which is, by the way, a red-throated king cobra. Absolutely
one of the best
beautiful.
I've seen, yeah.
He said he's going to bring it up sometime because it's gotten absolutely huge. I've seen some pictures. It's giant.
Like
but unfortunately, the guy that is, I think they're willing to breed together, but the guy doesn't want to sell it. So he can't
at least
the
we can get some of them babies.
But yeah,
over here.
I would love to. Yeah, oof, man, they're beautiful.
Lydia says bloopers are some of my most favorite videos.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know that we could do. I mean, I guess we could probably do a whole blooper video.
We could do one.
It's not
impossible.
I don't think that's an impossible thing. We've done them a couple times back in the Snake Bites days where we did like blooper videos. I mean, certainly I misspeak a lot, so that would be easy to do, but that would get boring pretty quick, just seeing me mispronounce words or stuttering on myself or something like that.
Now, do you think bloopers, or do you think we should just do like the funniest stuff? Like a vlog of like all funny, random things that happen, whether it be like animal things or with crew members or people?
Yeah, I mean, I think that might be more interesting than like the blooper side, because that's the thing. I mean, the only real bloopers we really have is not always, but usually it's just me misspeaking. I mean, sometimes you mess with Jay where you put a camera in his face and he says something.
Yeah, but besides like those, and that you don't mess up that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I think doing something more like all the like a bunch of funny hits of like bunch of
it's
stuff.
kind of like we did back in the Snake Bites days, we did like the best chewy bites, and we did a collage
something like that,
like all the chewy bites, and that was pretty funny. Of course now we would get destroyed if we did that, but with the bite side, but we could certainly do some of the funny stuff, or maybe like a collage of Lori beating people up or something like that, so.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Scottish Rob says, thoughts on bringing in guests from different worlds of podcasting, like Joko Willink or one of the Black Rifle Coffee guys, maybe a local politician.
I love the idea. I don't know about the local politician part.
It's Detroit.
I mean, I don't hate it. I really don't hate the idea of that. As far as the Black Rifle guys, oh my gosh, I'd love that. And, same thing. I mean, yeah, I think that, yes, we would want to bring podcast people from other podcasts, or even people that aren't into podcasting that come from, like you said, the politician side. It's a little bit dear. I don't know how people would respond to it.
Yeah, that's the only hard part is
but
the vitriol.
I would like to do it.
I'd love to talk to a local politician.
People don't know this about me, but I follow politics very, very religiously. Although I'm a very centrist, I'm not a Republican nor a Democrat. But I follow politics, both local and federal. And I also love business stuff. I love to talk business with people and get intricate with it. Would that be a good podcast? I don't know, but I don't hate the idea.
Let Roses Burn says, didn't get to say this Wednesday. Had to fight myself to go to Gatorland. Almost left 3 times, but I kept thinking of your vid with Mr. Beast. I was like, what regret would I have if I chicken out and not give Savannah her gift?
Yeah. So obviously, I applaud you, Let Roses Burn, for pushing through the anxiety and not wanting to do it. And she did meet Savannah, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
So it's awesome. And Savannah is bigger than life / she's a caricature of life in herself, and so I'm so glad, and I know you love Gatorland. As a matter of fact, we had some people here this week on a tour that the week before we're down at Gatorland, Kendra.
Yeah.
And they loved it. They said it was their favorite thing in Florida.
I can't believe more people don't go there. Like I mean, I know a lot of people go there, obviously, but like, that should be like the #1 attraction there, bro.
I posted that video that Anthony did today. He did a good job of editing that because it was much better than when I edited it because the placement of it was really good. But it was a funny video. So those guys that didn't go to my Instagram, check out the reels on Gatorland. It's a good one. It's one of my favorite pieces of video that I've ever shot in my entire life, and it's just a funny thing. Yeah, so it's cool.
Go enjoy it. OG Mix says, have a pair of black milks bought as a pair not knowing if they're related or not. Mm-hmm. Is it okay to breed them together if they're related?
Most likely, yes, because chances are, the worst case, they're one generation.
Right.
So I wouldn't be that terribly concerned about it. There's probably realistically not a tremendous amount of founder stock of gauge eye in the country anyways. My gut feeling would be there's probably less than 20 bloodlines in the entire country. Wow. If maybe less. Let's say Campbell eye, which are the Pueblo milk snake, there's only 13 founder stock animals ever brought in. Ever. So being that gauge eye and Campbell eye and Nelson eye and Sinaloans and stuff like that, they are all in the same region. Very little of that ever came into the country. As a matter of fact, guys like Lloyd Lemke were one of the people that brought them in back in the 60s and 70s. And then everything else that's being produced is produced just by those 13 founder stock animals. Wow. So I would assume gauge eye are similar to that, where there's probably a very small gene pool regardless. So I don't think that interbreeding them it's probably already being done. They're probably cousins already. Yeah. So
Heidi says, glad you managed to pull yourself out of that dark hole. You've worked so hard on it. Keep it up. Love you all.
Yeah. And Heidi was Heidi was a huge part of it. I mean, honestly, she checked on me almost every single day. And many days when I was like, I'm having a really rough day today, she'd be, sometimes this is what I've said, and I know Jay, because you've been down some dark places in your life too. Sometimes you just want people to say it's going to be okay. You know what I mean? I tell Lori that, because, like Lori as my significant other would obviously really have to see me struggle. And some days literally to the point of tears, I would cry because I was so anxious and I didn't know if I could make it. Sometimes literally I'd have to take it a minute at a time. Yep. Like literally not think about tonight, not think about tomorrow, not think about next hour. Think about how can I get through the next minute of my life.
Next 60 seconds.
And I always told Lori this. I said, you're not going to fix me. Don't try to fix me because you don't know. You don't know what I'm feeling. You don't know how to feel. The one thing I'll give you guys some advice. If someone is ever anxious, don't tell them to stop being anxious because I'd rather punch you in your face than do that. If I could just stop being anxious, you don't think I'd want to stop being anxious? And if someone's depressed, don't tell people to stop being sad because that's just stupid.
Dude.
I mean, it's more than that. So what I would tell Lori is I'd say, just tell me it's going to be okay. Even if you don't believe it.
Yeah, give me a hug.
Doesn't matter if you believe it. You don't know if it's going to be okay. You have no fucking clue if it's going to be okay. But I want you to just tell me, Brian, it's going to be okay. You know how many nights? I would say in the 14 months, probably all but 10 nights, I would ask Lori, do you think tomorrow's going to be okay? Yep. Do you think tomorrow's going to be better? And every time she'd say, yeah, I think it will be. She had no idea. I didn't have any idea. But it made me feel good to hear her say that. And Heidi did that to me a lot. Heidi would say, you're going to get through this. You're going to get better. This is going to get okay. And those were messages that really helped me and uplifted me. Sometimes just a little bit, but that's sometimes all you need.
That's right.
So I appreciate you, Heidi.
Let Roses Burn came back to say, it really scared me to face people I respect, but I thought, I can't disappoint Brian. If I can't do this, how can I get to Michigan?
Well, you're going to get to Michigan.
Yeah, baby.
You're going to get to Michigan, and you're going to come up, and we're going to have a great time together. And I can't wait to meet you in person. I mean, I look at your doll of me every day, and you've been a big supporter of this podcast since the beginning. And so thank you so much. And I'm proud of you for getting over your fears and doing the Gatorland.
And now
thing.
you can do it.
Yeah. Now listen, this is the thing. Focus on wins. Right. Everything you do is a win. Right? Don't focus on what you couldn't do. Focus on what you did. Yep. And when you went to Gatorland, that was a huge win. When I went to Mr. Beast, it was a huge win.
That's right.
And quite frankly, I would almost say that when I went to Mr. Beast, that was the turning point.
I agree 100%.
Because since Mr. Beast, I've gotten so much better. Now, is it a coincidence? Maybe it is. But that was the biggest stepping out. I don't
think it was coincidence. I think you put your mind to something you wanted to do, and you found out you could do it, even if you didn't. Even if your body was telling you no.
Yeah, and it was rough. I mean, that was a rough, like I said, top 4 hardest things I've ever done in my life was to do the Mr. Beast. Not because it was hard they were great. Mr. Beast was great. Jimmy was great. All the people there were great. It was my mental health that was so difficult, and of course, none of them knew that at all. Not one person. I went through that entire film session, never told a person I was anxious. Never once. I mean, I wore a smile on my face. I always tell people I'm a I'm a real good actor, when it comes to people sometimes get really shocked. They're like, what? You have anxiety? Like, I would have never thought it. And I'm like, yeah, because I've learned to be a good actor. But now I don't want to act. I want to be it. I want to enjoy it. But you'll be great. Let Roses Burn. And we don't know her name. Do you know her name?
I feel like it was Laura or Lori, because I feel like I remember when the thing came, we were like, oh, it's Lori or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. I feel bad that I call her Let Roses Burn because she's been such a part of the podcast since we started. So I apologize.
But I bet you, I think we're right.
Yeah.
Laura or Lori.
Lori or Laura.
You let me know down in the comments.
Yeah, there you go.
Sammy says, thank you for giving so much of yourself. Watching the vlogs and listening to the podcast have helped me out on some really dark times. You are appreciated, loved, and deserve some time to rest.
Well, thank you. I think we all deserve time to rest. I think, but I can never make it more clear that the decision that we will ultimately make now and in the future. I've said this from the beginning. We were never going to daily vlog forever, right? Never. That was never an option. We didn't even know if we were going to daily vlog past last year. I think in reality, we were considering not daily vlogging last year until COVID happened.
You're right.
And then COVID happened, and then we felt the responsibility to give people something to look forward to each day. Not that my vlog, I don't know why.
No, but it does.
But it's something.
It does.
And then I think 2021, I don't even know why we made the decision to keep going and not maybe pay,
I think it just came too quick. I totally forgot it's even 2021 until just now.
And then there was this kind of thing on the fence, like, well, maybe we daily vlog, till we get done with the expansion so we can show. But it's like Jay said to me, if we vlog 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 4 days a week, whatever it turns out to be, we can still tell the story of every day,
right?
Just make it into one video. Like, hey, this would happen Monday and Tuesday today,
Exactly.
And so I don't know what the future is going to be, but we can still tell the story and not do it 7 days a week. And if you really look at YouTube, with the exception of very, 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 very few people, most people never daily vlog more than a year. I mean, like even Casey Neistat, which is probably the most famous daily vlogger, didn't even do 2 years.
Right.
Jake Paul, who
everyday bro.
Yeah, everyday bro Jake Paul only did it for a year and a half, or maybe
Logan, I think similar, right?
Yeah, well, Logan stopped because of he had to.
Yeah.
I don't know how much longer he would have went either. But daily is something that is very difficult, and it's a more mental than anyone can actually imagine, because the stress of knowing you've got to come up with content every single day is unbelievably daunting. And when you do it for 1,700 and how many? 1737 days in a row. Think about that. 1737 days.
I like what you say. I bet you haven't brushed your teeth for
you haven't brushed your teeth.
You haven't.
You have not brushed your teeth 1737 days in a row. So it's a crazy thing. And now it's the next evolution. And I don't think it's going to be a major change. I don't think we're going to look at something. I can tell you this much right now. I don't know exactly what we're going to say, but we're going to say it here in the next day or two and make the decision. But it's not going to be 4 days. It's going to be more than that. It's going to be more than 4 days a week for now. Where it ends, I don't know. You'll stay tuned. Hit that post notifications on button.
That's right, baby.
You'll find out what's going to happen.
Our buddy, the Mac Attack. He's back.
Mac.
He says, you made a good point about YouTube no longer rewarding daily content. Yeah. There's almost a penalty for it now. Yeah. I believe in you and Jay, and you'll overcome. We love you, Mac.
Well, I think that's great. I'm glad that Mac said that because it is really true. And it is what he said is very insightful, that it's almost penalized on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is a couple different things. Number one, it seems like YouTube doesn't want to promote one thing day after day after day. And actually, one of the big things that changed in the algorithm over the last 2 years with YouTube is that, if you go to the sidebar of my video, 2.5 years ago, almost every video
single one.
was more of my videos. Now less than 50% are. So they found out, believe it or not, and I've read this whole paper on it's called the white paper on the algorithm of YouTube, and it says right in there that they found that. So let me just back up. YouTube's one goal,
what is it, bro?
besides making money, is to keep you on the platform. Period.
Which makes them money.
Period. Which makes them money. Keep you on the platform. And what they realized is that if they served up radically different content, so they used to be like, oh, you're watching snake videos? Here's more snake videos. TikTok does that, right?
Yep.
You watch a snake video on TikTok, all your videos are going to be TikTok. YouTube went the other way with it. And they found that a fraction of a percent, if you served a snake person something on motorcycles, they would watch longer. You know, than if it was snake after snake, they'd be on, right.
Because after 3 videos, you might be like, you know what, time to go outside and walk the dog. But if it's like a bunch of different stuff, you're stimulated over and over, right?
And so YouTube changed that, and that's what really killed the daily vlog. When Casey Neistat started daily vlogging, and he was by far not the first daily vlogger, but when he made daily vlogging a completely different thing, you know, I mean, before Peter McKinnon, before all those guys.
He made it a trend.
Yeah, he made it a trend, number one, plus he made it cinematic. You know? It wasn't just some guy talking. You know, really, most daily vloggers, even to this day, Charles Trippy, who has got the Guinness Book of World Record for the most days in a row, consecutive days in a row, going back all the way to 2006.
Yeah, how many days is it, do you think, roughly?
All the way from 2006, so however many days that is. I mean,
that's crazy.
You know, he's still every single day. But he's the old school where it's basically him just talking to a camera. You know, hey, I'm going to the store today. I'm doing this today. I'm doing, you know, I mean,
talking about whatever in life, right?
Yeah, and you had a lot of guys like that. The Syndicate was that way, and a lot of the Phase guys were that way. And then all of a sudden, you know, then Casey comes along, and he's not going to talk to the camera all day. He's going to show you these cinematic views. He's going to tell the story through visual and also talking. But in an 8 to 10 minute video, you're probably getting 5 minutes of visual story time telling, which was something that had never been done on YouTube before. Right. But that was in the heat of like being rewarded for daily. That was when the more videos you put out, you actually were getting rewarded. As a matter of fact, there were some channels that were conglomerates that were putting out 4, 5, 6 videos a day. I remember Java Juice Roy at one point was putting out 3 videos a day. Wow. 3 videos a day. And every one of those videos was getting like 1 million plus views. Wow. I mean, the guy was killing it. He was probably doing 400 or 500 million views a month, you know, and he was putting out 3 videos every single day. Now I think, you know, he puts out maybe 2 a week, you know. So yeah, you're right. They penalize it now, but we did it because we continued to believe in it. But you know, we always knew there was going to be a change. Just when and how drastic of a change.
Jade says, just want to say thank you for everything, Brian.
Well, thank you, Jade. Love your name. My daughter's named Jade, so I love you.
Timothy came back and says, along with Ron, I'd love to see Eugene Bissett on a podcast.
Yeah, Eugene. So yeah,
he knows all the guys, man.
So Eugene was actually on Triple B with Brian Cusco. I don't know how long that interview was, and it's a little bit different because it was like an interviewee type of thing. It wasn't really a podcast like Brian does. Brian like basically sets up a table at a reptile show and then has like guests on type of thing. So I don't really know. I didn't watch the video, unfortunately, so I can't really tell. I think that you're right, a longer form Eugene Bissett, 2 hours of Eugene Bissett. And trust me, if Eugene was on and we had 2 hours of Eugene, I wouldn't say a word.
Are you for real?
It would be Eugene talking for 2 hours straight, which would be wonderful. Would be absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, just sit back and relax.
And,
right?
I would love that to death. Now, would he do it? I don't know. Eugene, I was surprised that Eugene went on Brian Cusco's because Eugene is usually very, very not into being in the limelight and
reserved.
But yes. Could I get Eugene to come up north too? I don't know about that either. You know, I mean, he does go up to Tinley, so it's possible. I should reach out to him.
You should.
know, what's the worst that happens? He says no.
Yeah, which is already the answer. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So perfect.
Yeah. No, but I do agree. That would be a banger.
Becky came back and says, I love the bloopers. Your laugh is contagious. It's so true.
Thank you. I mainly laugh at myself.
You do, but it's usually a great laugh. So regardless. Give me 1 second. It's just
oh yeah, you got some losses there. Yeah, super chatters go away. But yeah, no, it's but I mean, yeah, well, I think I don't know. I don't know what I think. You know, I mean, my mind is spinning in a lot of different ways, making decisions, and it's hard because I just want to reach people with. I guess I want to reach people with a couple different things, right? The love of reptiles, the love of animals, the love of life, and inspiration that you can do things that people may not think you can do, I've told people, if I can succeed in life, and I don't know that, I guess I've succeeded. It's hard. I don't really look at myself as a success story, but I guess I am. But I'm telling you, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Seriously. I'm not special in any way.
Weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth.
I wasn't. No one gave me anything. I had a hard path. I was just talking to someone the other day, and I said that if in the 35 years that I've been in business, probably 32 of them I've been almost broke.
Yeah.
Maybe 31. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Who's
the vast majority, 90% of the time, I've been piss broke and barely paying my bills. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm buying a $100,000 animal or something like that, and I'm still traveling. I'm prior to COVID traveling the world, doing amazing things and all that stuff. But I literally was like, how am I going to pay for this? How is this going to come? It's really been a short period of my life that I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I can, now I buy a $10,000 animal. I don't even think about it. I just do it. That's been a very short period of my life. So it's just about tenacity and sticking to it and believing in what you're doing. And I want that to be a big part of what I do for you guys too. And it was hard over the last year because it was really hard for me to preach happiness and love of life when I couldn't even hardly get out of bed. You know what I mean? Now I'm getting back to the point where I'm not going to look in the camera and lie to you fucking people. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to lie to you and sit there and say, life is great. Grab it by the bull by the horns. I'm not going to do that when I don't believe it at the time. Now I'm getting back to believing it. And now I can tell you guys that again.
Hell yeah. Big K says, have you ever bred orange dream pythons at all?
Yeah, we have orange dreams. Yeah,
we love them.
Yeah, exactly. As a matter of fact, I was excited. One of our lemon blast orange dreams that was like on the cusp. She was sticking at that 15, 16 millimeter mark. She just blew up to about 23 millimeters. Shit. So it looks like she's going to go. So yeah, we have a bunch of clutches of orange dreams.
What is the one you have? Is it a Pastavi orange dream?
Yeah, I got a Pastavi orange dream. That's a beauty.
Gorgeous. We got so pretty.
As a matter of fact, I've got an Enchi orange dream. That's a super Enchi orange dream. I'm sorry. That's literally probably going to drop eggs today or tomorrow.
Oh, hell yeah.
So and that was bred to a Stinger Bee orange dream.
When are those pumpkins coming out too?
It should be a couple days.
I cannot wait, dude.
Yeah, a couple more
days. It was
days.
hard to see some of it in the egg, so I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I'm excited too. But yeah, the like I said, that so you figure Super Enchi Orange Dream to Stinger Bee Orange Dream is going to be pretty cool because everything's going to be Enchi. A lot of Super Orange Dream stuff. We're going to have some spider stuff, some pastel stuff, there's a bunch of cool stuff that's going to come out of that clutch.
Let Roses Burn says, I'm not comparing you, but Snake Discovery will add like maybe 2 minutes at the end of their end of the video that they have bloopers, and mostly when animals don't cooperate. Does that happen often?
I don't know.
I don't think animals don't cooperate often.
Yeah,
right?
I think that most of the time they cooperate, and I think that's the thing. So I really respect Emily and Snake Discovery, and I think they do amazing. Their channel is really phenomenal, and they're doing whereas we've seen a reduction, they've seen an increase. So they're doing really well. But I think that their content is much more slated to a younger audience than ours, and there's no problem with that. As a matter of fact, that's a great thing. If you look at Brave Wilderness, his audience is very young compared to ours too. So when you look at, I think even like Mr. Beast, if you looked at Mr. Beast, I'd say the majority of his content is probably slated to younger, right? Yep. When you look at our demographic, the majority of our demographic is 18 to 25 and 25 to 34, right? Those are our two top demographics. Yep. So it's a little harder to put out, like I'll give you an example. Reptile Army is a perfect example. I like silly shirts. I like goofy shirts. That I wore way before Reptile Army. You guys know I'm a t-shirt guy, and I wear so it's perfectly fits my personality, right? What we design. But I have a lot of our audience saying, I would love to support you, but I can't wear that silly shirt. Can you make something more serious? So what I'm saying is that what maybe works for Snake Discovery probably doesn't work for us because our audience is a more mature audience, Not that all of her audience are kids, because she does have some older audience too. But I'm just saying that, probably some of the silly stuff that she gets away with probably wouldn't really work on our channel, right? You know what I mean? And I may be wrong by that. I don't know. You know, I'm willing to try anything.
Of course.
But I that's my presumption.
Austin says, the best way I have beat my anxiety, Brian, is because I look back to my mom who passed away when I was 15. We shared music together, and music is great.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of root of anxiety, right? You know, and there's a lot of ways to probably beat it. It depends on what your root causes are, you know. So my root causes, I'm always honest with you guys. My root causes are lack of control and lack of safety, right? So when I'm not in control, I don't feel safe. And when I don't feel safe, I feel anxious, right? And that can be a whole host of a million things. You know, I certainly felt like there was no control with COVID, and I certainly didn't feel safe. And that's what was the camel that broke the camel's, or the straw that broke the camel's back. You know, but there's a ton of things in my life that I don't feel comfortable with because I don't feel I'm in control, and then I don't feel safe. And that comes from childhood trauma, right? And so what my goal, again, everyone's journey is different. My goal is to feel safe and to be comfortable with the uncomfortable and be comfortable with not being in control. And when I can master those things, then my anxiety reduces. And that's what's been happening over the last several months.
Tiffany says, so what do I have to do for a pic with Pep and Lucy? Guessing Pepper, maybe?
Well,
Can you twerk?
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah, what are we talking about here, Tiffany?
What that mouth do?
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I mean, so it's possible. It's more possible to do that when we're not open to the public. So be in touch with us when I know you're coming for your birthday, the 2nd or something like that. And if we can maybe, you know, depending on what our schedule is, if we're not like packed with tours, like today was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, literally from morning till night, we had things going on. We had more events today than we normally have in 2 days. But if we have a gap where like you're in town and we're not open and we don't have a tour in the house and stuff like that, that would be the time, because I can't really take Lucy and or Pepper out when people are around just because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
You know? And but if we could do that, we could do it. Absolutely.
Solid Serpent says, how is that gravid mole snake? How should I set up my BHB tour and trip to pick up a baby mole snake and maybe more? Thanks.
Well, thank you. I don't know. I think she's gravid. Okay. I mean, you know, we saw she had some follicular-ish things, pretty big too. So it looked like that. She seems like she has some distension. She was off food. She did just eat this week for the first time in like 5 weeks, which concerns me a little bit, because now gravid live bearers will eat during gestation sometimes, but oftentimes don't. So the fact that she ate today, or not today, but this week, gives me a little concern. Okay, did she start to reabsorb follicles and maybe she wasn't gravid? Or is she just, you know, taking on some nutrition? Because sometimes boas, you know, will eat up until a month before they lay. Not always. Some go off food the whole time. Some eat, so on like that. So it's a little different. If an egg layer eats, you're screwed. You know, goodbye. You're not going to get a clutch. But stay in touch as far as the tours and stuff like that. You can call us up and we can book whatever you need.
Big K came back and says, I'm only asking because I'd love to get into breeding pythons, and I'd love to start with the Orange Dream morph. What would be your opinion or advice?
Well, I think it's a great thing, you know, and Orange Dream stuff is not that expensive these days, right? You know, I mean, like normal Orange Dreams are like $100, you know. I mean, they're pretty easy to get into. And then, you know, see, this is the thing, you know, Orange Dream does amazing things to so much. Like clown Orange Dream stuff is amazing. When you get into super Orange Dream stuff, I still like my favorite is always Orange Dream and Spider. But of course, some people don't want to work with the Spider gene, so you have to make that decision. Do you want to work with the Spider gene? Orange Dreams and Spiders, amazing together. Presumptuously, the pumpkin and Spider is going to look pretty damn cool too, considering that we bred it to a spinner, Enchi spinner, super Enchi spinner, and there's some Spider stuff in there that looks like the head pattern is very wonky, just like the super Orange Dream stuff. But there's no bad way to go. You can even get super Orange Dream stuff, so that way you're not just producing half clutches of Orange Dream, and you'd be fine, you know. So no, it's Orange Dream stuff is great, and there's so much available out there, you know. Now there's a lot of people are producing them, and like I said, a lot of it's not that expensive.
Sherry says, your true followers like me will show up as often as you vlog.
Yeah.
Same with the podcast. Guests are great, but we will show up for you and Jay. You personally Help me through some hard days. Thanks for your positive vibes.
Well, thank you, Sherry. And Sherry, you've been around for a long time with me as well, and I look forward to your comment every single day that we vlog. And like I said, I think that even if we decide to reduce the number of vlogs per week, whatever that is, I think we'll probably still put out a video, a short video, so that we can at least still hang out in the chat, together, or in the comment section together. And yeah, the podcast is a whole different beast. It's like, obviously it's a similar thing, right? We used to do a lot more numbers on the vlog, I'm in the podcast. And now the numbers have dipped on the podcast. And I think that's because it's not, I can sit here and talk to you, and me and Jake can chat back and forth for hours, and it's great. It's a ton of fun. But the truth is that, I think that we need to change it up because some people just don't want that. Our hardcore followers definitely do, like you, Sherry, and but some people are going to need more than that to come back around, and it's time that we make those changes. Just like we may be making changes on the vlog, we need to make the same changes on the podcast to try to, not just cater to the most devout following, but to cater to as much as we can.
Let Roses Burn came back and says, I go by either my given name is Laura, but my friends and family call me Lori.
Oh, interesting. That is really weird.
So we were right.
So you're Lori to us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
friends
and
and
I
family.
like you spelled it just like the other Lori.
And then Scottish Rob says, Vin Russo and Dr. Warren both be good guests, possibly.
Yeah, both would be great guests. 100%. I agree. Vin, I've been friends with Vin for a very long time. I only spoke to Warren a couple times.
Right, I just got to use the restroom real quick.
Yeah,
I'll be
sure.
right back.
Yeah. I only talked to Warren Booth a couple times. I don't know, so there was a group of people back in like the Venom Hunter days on Discovery Channel. And that before the Venom Hunters we were cool, and after the Venom Hunters we weren't cool anymore. And it seems to me, and I could be completely wrong, and if I'm talking out of sorts here, I apologize. It seems to me like Warren was one of the ones that didn't really care for what I was doing, not only with Venom Hunters, but also just in life in general. And it seems to me like I heard some feedback, like he didn't really care for my form of entertainment or whatever the case may be. I could be completely wrong, because I did reach out. We talked a few times years ago, and we had a couple of cordial conversations. I don't know, and I don't want to put any words into Warren's mouth by any stretch, but I don't know if he would be cool. If I reached out to Warren, I don't know if he'd be like, F you, I don't want to have anything to do with you, or if he'd be like, yeah, good, let's do it, because he's a really good guy. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him in the things he does. Obviously his research is amazing. And then on the flip side, Vin Russo, I've known Vin for a long, long time, probably close to 30 years. And I think that, Vin would definitely come out and be on the podcast if he wanted to travel. That's the other thing. I don't know how much some of these people, that's the trick, right? The trick is, how do I get people to that want to come out, that want to travel, that want to do the podcast? But I agree, both of those people will be really good people. I think that Warren has actually been on a few podcasts recently over the last 6 months or so. Again, I don't have time to follow podcasts that much, so I haven't listened to him, but I know I've seen his name on a couple podcasts. He might have even been on MJ's once or twice, or maybe Rude Dogs, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but I know I've seen him on it, so I don't know where he is, but no, I like the idea for sure.
Jade says, Bri, 35 years, you don't look old enough, and Jade's lucky.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll send that money that that I paid you to say that later.
Yeah,
right. But no, I'm 52 years old, and been doing it since I was a kid. 17 is when I started. Really 15 is when I started. So really, I've been doing this for 37 years, almost 37 years, but 35 professionally. So if that's what you want to call it, I was a business at that point. But so this is my 35th breeding season as a company.
Oh, that's so crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, seriously wild.
Yeah, it is wild, yeah.
Wild Boy Dev says, hey, guys, check your IG DMs. And we will.
Right. We will. I'll check it.
I'm excited.
You better not be sliding in my DMs asking me.
Better not be foot pics.
Yeah. If it's a foot pic, I'm going to delete you.
Yeah, throwback, huh? That was a bit ago.
Send Bruce. Scales and things.
Yeah, scales and things. Send your feet pics. Austin says, on a lighter note, milk snakes underrated or overrated?
Great question. I think underrated.
I agree.
I think we're underrated for sure. Now, again, you got to remember milk snakes are very diverse. So, you've got something from, the Pueblan that I think is one of the easiest milk snakes to work with. They eat really well. They breed really well, but they're a little bit spaz. They're a little bit, especially as babies, they'll piss on you and bite you and it's wiggle like you can't believe. It's definitely not for a beginner. Then you have a Honduran that oftentimes acts similar as babies, but chill out really soon. But they get much larger. And then you have, Nelsons and you have Sinaloans and you have, the list goes on and on. There's Conants, Melks. There's dozens of Lampropelis triangulum. But I do think they're all underrated. And I think that, you could build a collection of just diverse milk snakes, Hondurans, Stewart Eye, Gauge Eye, Conant Eye, Taylor Eye. I mean, the list goes on and on. You could grow a group of really cool milk snakes and have a business just,
Got
about
milk. Yeah, Got Milk snakes.
Yeah, exactly. There was a business called Got Milk years ago.
Oh, was there really?
Yeah, it really was. Yeah,
of course, because it's a great
years
name.
ago, and they faded away. There was a thing. That was the thing. There was a couple guys. Terry Dunham had a place called Albino Tricolors. He was ahead of the game because he had albinotricolors.com.
Yeah, that is ahead of the
I wonder
game.
if he still has it.
You're like, let me get that.
Yeah, let me get that.
Come
shit.
on, I'll throw you $5. Come on.
But and then there was a guy named Seven Generations, Don something or other, and he was so those guys were like really heavily into like the milk snake side of things, and they did a really good job of it for a while. And then just around that time, someone came out with a business called Got Milk, and it was the same thing, just all milk snakes, and then ball pythons happened. And then everyone that got into everyone that had milk snakes got ball pythons.
Everyone
and got rid of all their milk
pythons.
snakes.
Yeah.
But no one. It's interesting that no one really. So you've got people that are like just hognose, right?
Right.
You got people that are just ball pythons, just boas, just corn snakes. There's corn snake collections, but there's really no just milk snake collections.
No.
Which I think there should be.
Usually, if you have milk snakes, it seems like you have a more eclectic collection.
Yeah, I think they're like they're a complement to the rest of your colubrids, as opposed to the main course. And I think that somebody, if someone's smart, they probably would go on a hunt for as many species of milk snakes that they possibly could, and even get into the potentially even you could expand into the Mexicana stuff,
right?
Or Mexicana, Theri, Mexicana, whatever, the gray banded kings, all that stuff. So you could really get into the king snakes, milk snakes, that are all in that kind of milk snake, king snake, not like Cal Kings or Brooks Kings, but in the kind of milk snake-ish type of a thing, because there's, obviously, you get into, you got the Pyro Milana, that's a milk snake, so you've got no block eye, you've got Pyro, you got Pyro Wooden Eye. So yeah, there's a, you could do some damage if you were just a milk snake.
Like if you were
person.
hyper-focused, yeah.
Yeah, if you're hyper-focused, I think you would do really, really well. And that may not be what you were asking, but I gave you that answer.
But you're welcome.
You're welcome.
James says, hey,
Cut
Brian and
me in
Jay.
on that.
Yeah, 20%. Hey, Brian, Jay, I always hear you talk about snakes and reptiles from all over the world, but what continent besides Antarctica, obviously, has the most banger snakes and reptiles?
Yeah.
Love you guys. I'm going Asia. I always go Asia, bro. I'm telling you.
Go Asia.
I love them cool vipers.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously that, so this is a really tough one, right? Because if you really think about it, besides Antarctica, in Europe, because Europe isn't very strong, Asia, Africa, Australia, North and South America, all are pretty awesome.
Incredible.
I think that probably the most underrated continent for reptiles is North America.
I agree.
It's underrated because we don't think. I mean, we have all of the rattlesnakes, not all of them. I mean, there's neotropical rattlesnakes too, but we have all of the ones we have that are incredible, from Mitchellii to Atrox to
Buttes,
I mean, just all kinds of different, Arizona blacks and rubies. There's crazy amount of rattlesnakes we have. Then we have all of the, you do have the Pyro Milana, the wooden eye from Arizona, which are the Arizona mountain king snakes. You have have San Diego king snakes, mountain king snakes. Algama. You have. I mean, the list goes. I mean, we've got corn snakes. We've got indigos. I mean, my gosh, not only we've got Cooperi, which are the eastern indigos, but we have the Texas indigos. We have.
You're just talking snakes. There's lizards too. Crazy lizards.
We've got Gila monsters. The only place in the world. We've got Gila monsters. We've got chuckawallas. We've got. Yep. I mean, the list goes on. And I think that North America, and I'm the first one to say that. Like I travel to Africa, to Asia, to Australia all the time. Well, prior to COVID, and yet I haven't spent I've spent more time in Australia herping than I have in America, and that's a crime because there's some amazing animals. Now I've done a bunch of herping in America,
of course,
but I should definitely do more. So I know that, but I think all of those continents have different attributes. But literally, if you didn't want to travel and you were just like, I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to go down to Florida and in the Carolinas and the Mississippi area, and then I'm going to head over to Texas and West Texas to collect, some rattlesnakes as well as all the gray-banded king snakes, and then I'm going to travel into Arizona. I'm going to try to go for Gilas and Arizona blacks and Western diamondbacks and the Mitchellii, which are the speckled rattlesnakes, and then I'm going to head up into California, and I'm going to do all. And then, hey, I'm going to head up into Oregon, and I'm going to do rubber boas.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? I'm going to head and go Oregon red-sided garter snakes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You could literally herp in America and find some of the most incredible reptiles on the planet.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Draco says, have you ever heard anything about colored night lights affecting snakes? My python doesn't come out with a red light, but does with a purple light.
Yeah, some people talk about red lights being bad for them. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about red lights being bad for reptiles and reptiles' eyes and all kinds of different stuff. I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting thing because Zoom Ed certainly, and we use blue lights on a lot of our animals, to be honest with you. As a matter of fact, I don't know if we use any red. Do we use any red lights?
Like red?
Yeah, red lights. I don't think we use any red lights at all.
I haven't seen, just orange, like a normal heat lamp and then a blue light.
Yeah, then blue light.
Which is my favorite combo, by the way.
But red, but Zoom Ed puts out the night light, which is red, Right. I mean, I would hope that Zoom Ed isn't putting out a product that's bad for animals. I don't think they would. If they would, I think they'd take it off the market.
I agree.
But you got to remember each animal is an individual too, right? And so maybe your animal doesn't like that spectrum of light or doesn't feel comfortable with that spectrum of light. So yeah, it's an interesting thing, and it's something I'd like to do a little bit more research on before I can tell you a perfect answer.
Keenan says, thank you. Thanks. You're great to listen to while cleaning cages.
Well, good. Well, enjoy your cleaning of cages. I certainly have done enough of that in my life.
Mama Tomsky says, Mayweather or Logan Paul?
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
Is that tomorrow?
That's tomorrow. That's tomorrow. Listen, I think there's almost no chance that Logan wins,
like
right?
almost zero, right?
But I think this was the interesting thing. I think it was like, and I'm not a gambler, so I'm an idiot. I think it was something like, if you put $100 down, you could win 20 for Mayweather winning. So for every $100 you bet, you win 20.
Okay, so you'd win. Okay, now I see what you're saying. I thought you meant like you lost 80, but you're saying you would win 120.
Yeah, you win
right?
120 for every 100. Whereas I think Logan was something like, for every $1 down, you would win 20. Now I would put $100 on Logan to potentially win 2,000.
Right.
But I think there's no chance.
That's why it's such a crazy bet.
There's little chance, that Logan. You got to remember now. Age. Listen, the one thing that all professional athletes can't get past is age. Right? Age will catch every athlete.
Yeah.
Mayweather looked really good in his last fight. He is the best boxer of all time.
Yeah.
Logan is a specimen of a human being. He is a specimen of. I saw a picture of him, a meme of him that said, "They don't make superheroes look like this." Because he was just.
You're right. He's jacked.
He is jacked. He is the perfect proportion.
God body.
He is a Greek god. He really is, and he's a tremendous athlete, and he's got the heart of a lion. But he's facing the best boxer of all time. Now, mind you, that boxer is a lot smaller than him. He can fit him in his little pocket. Yeah. But I think the chances are, and this is the other thing, is that you're not talking about Mike Tyson going up against Logan Paul, where it's like they're just brawlers, right?
Yeah.
This is the best defensive boxer of all time.
50 people
meaning that
couldn't hit.
people you can't hit the guy, you know. And with that being said, when he stepped in with McGregor, he let McGregor hit him, and he said afterwards, "I let him hit me because I knew he'd punch himself out."
Yes,
That's what he said.
Tire him out, and that's a good move.
Yeah, and a lot of boxers have done that in the past, but he felt that McGregor didn't have the knockout power that he would actually catch him, so he allowed McGregor to kind of punch himself out, and at the end, McGregor ran out of juice, and he beat the shit out of him.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to let Logan punch him because Logan's a big dude, right?
Like way bigger.
That being said, I have a hard time believing that Logan Paul punches harder than McGregor, a very, very good striker.
Like a knockout boxer.
Like a knockout boxer. And listen, all I can go by now, I'll be honest with you. You'll be, I know it's like, but why we're talking boxing
Dude,
here
on
the Snake Talk. This will be a very unpopular thing for me to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. I think Jake Paul has a chance to knock Mayweather out. Because Jake Paul does have knockout power. He's shown that he can knock people out. He can put people to sleep. So far, Logan's only fought KSI and
twice, right?
Twice in was it 3 times or twice?
I think just twice, and didn't win either time.
It
was draw and then loss.
Yeah, draw and loss. Exactly right. Draw and loss. And he couldn't knock out a YouTuber.
Yeah.
You know? So I think the chance of him knocking out the best defensive boxer in the world, next to impossible. And I do think that Logan is going to run out of energy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think that Logan's never been in a professional boxing, even though this is an exhibition. He's never been in a fight for 7 innings, 8 innings, or innings. What the fuck am I talking about?
Baseball.
Yeah, rounds. 7 rounds, 8 rounds, 10. I don't know how many rounds this goes, but if he gets past 5 rounds, he's going to be gassed. He's going to be gassed.
He's a big dude. He's carrying around a lot of stuff. You know?
He was gassing KSI, and that was, I think, 4 or 5 rounds. And that's what happened to McGregor too, right? He got into the 5th, 6th round, and he was done. He was
and that's where Mayweather shines.
And that's where he shines.
He wants you. He wants to go the full round because did he knock a lot of people out in his career? I don't think so, right? He won a lot of the stuff similar to Mayweather.
He won a lot of decisions. He did knock some people out, quite a few people out, but
yeah.
But he did win a lot of decisions. And people always said that Mayweather was one of the most boring champions ever.
Right.
Because he wasn't a puncher. He wasn't a brawler. He wasn't going to get in there. He was going to dance. He was going to bob.
He's an artist.
He was great defensive. He's got the speed of that no one else
if you're a
has ever
boxing
had.
person, like if that's your life, like you would love to watch Floyd. But if you're me and you, I don't want to watch that. You know what I'm saying?
We want to see 2 people beat the hell out of each other, you know?
Greek.
So, but no, I think Logan is, listen, this is what I hope. Because I'm friends with Logan. I would love Logan to win because I think it would be a great story. You know, it would be the talk of every single sports and news age. I mean, Fox News would be showing the clip of Logan knocking out Mayweather. And I don't know Mayweather. I am friends with Logan, so obviously I'm going to always want my friend to win. Mayweather doesn't seem like the nicest guy, you know what I mean? So I think that's the other thing. It would be a great story that the good guy won, you know? And the underdog won.
Goliath
too.
beats David.
Yeah,
this time. You know what I'm saying?
But I think it's going to be a hard thing. So this is what I'm hoping happens. I'm hoping Logan puts up a good fight. He looks respectable. And hopefully it goes the distance, however many rounds it's going to go. And hopefully Mayweather wins by decision, and Logan walks away and goes, "Hey, I stood and fought the best fighter in the world for 7 rounds, 8 rounds, 10 rounds, however many rounds it's going." And I stood I kept my own.
Yeah, that's a win.
That would be a win. That's all I want. No, Logan gets knocked out, I'm going to be bummed. I'm going to be bummed. I hope he doesn't get knocked out, you know? And I know Logan's probably thinking, "Hey, a guy that's 155 pounds doesn't have enough boxing power to put me to sleep." But
hit you 42 times in the face before you blink.
Yeah, if Logan all of a sudden can't keep his hands up and he can't block and he can't defend, he's going to get beat up.
Well, because that's the weird thing. I don't know if you've ever boxed with your friends growing up or something, but I used to do that. And if you get behind the rhythm of the punches, you're fucked. I mean, you're just going to start getting chipped in the face.
Well, it's not only that. I played hockey my whole life. And I've always said that there's a certain point because I used to literally, I don't know if I ever told you this, I used to go play roller hockey after I worked and stuff like that.
Yeah, you told me.
And sometimes I would go and play with these kids. I was probably 30 at the time.
Yeah.
And there'd be a bunch of like 16 to 18-year-old kids out at this roller rink. It was right a couple miles from my house, still there, by the way. And we would sometimes play for like 6 hours straight.
Jesus.
Without a break.
Yeah.
I mean, like literally you play. And at the end of like, at some point, you are so tired, your mind is saying, I need to skate to that ball because it's a roller ball.
Yeah.
And you can't do it. You just literally, it's like 5 feet away, and you're like,
it's like a mirage
like
in the
your
desert.
mind
Yeah.
cannot make your legs go. And that's what happens to boxers, right? Like all that training, keep your hands up, do this, bob, weave, move your feet. All of a sudden, it all goes away. Right? What is Mike Tyson's most famous line? Have you heard it?
No, I
It
haven't.
says, everyone's a great boxer until they get punched in the face.
Okay, I have heard.
You know?
Yeah.
As soon as you get punched in the face, it's all out.
Yeah, it's all the rules are gone.
Yeah, and that's my concern is that, Logan in round 5 or however many rounds it is, he's gassed, and all of a sudden Mayweather just fucking pours it on.
Yeah,
just starts machine gunning him. Just machine gunning him, And then Logan's just like TKO'd. I don't think he's going to put him to sleep. I think he could get TKO'd.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like McGregor. McGregor didn't get knocked out. He got TKO'd. You know? And I think that's
definitely
a scary
possible.
Thing. But I'm praying, man. Dude, I want
We want Logan, bro.
Come on,
we team
Yep,
Logan.
yep.
We're just also team reality. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeet.
Timothy says, ever talked with Dan Mulray?
Yeah,
from
he's in
The Anecdotics.
Thailand.
Oh, cool.
So he's from California, but he moved to Thailand about 6 months ago. So he is definitely not coming on the podcast. He retired. He was a firefighter. Really cool collection, beautiful collection of stuff. I don't know what happened to his collection. I wish I would have bought a bunch of it. If I would, I just don't know what happened to it. But no, yeah. I mean, Dan was in a handful of snake bites back when I used to do reptile shows and film stuff. I had Dan on 2 or 3 or 4 times, showing off some of his amazing animals at the Anaheim show and at the shows, Super Show. Great guy, really good dude. I liked him a tremendous amount. But yeah, he moved just about 6 months ago. He moved maybe less than 6 months ago because he married a Thai woman. And I remember years ago, he said, "Yep, at this time I retire. I'm done with firefighting, and I'm moving to Thailand." That was his goal from the beginning.
Crazy, man.
And it was a weird time. As a matter of fact, I really enjoyed. If you guys didn't get a chance to check it out, I enjoyed his migration video, where he basically documented what it took to move from America to Thailand during COVID. And one of the things I watched, it was a really cool series of like a few videos. And the one video, weirdly enough, had none of these had anything to do with reptiles. But the one was him having to stay in the hotel, in a locked hotel room for 15 days.
Oh my God.
And they would come. Well, I think they would come like once a day and they'd knock on the door, or they came 3 times a day for food, and he's a big dude, he's a bodybuilder, big dude, and so he's he said the variety of food and the quantity of food's a little bit tough, stuff like that, but they'd knock on the door like once a day, and they'd swab his nose and do the COVID check, or whatever it was, and so it was interesting to see. It gave me anxiety. You know what I mean? Like, what, you were locked in a fucking hotel room for 15 days and you can't do anything.
Talk about loss of control, right?
Yeah, and then he vlogged the like, okay, today's the day I'm out, and they show him walking out of the thing and him getting out and on the street for the very first time, and it was a really cool. It was a cool like series about that, but yeah, so he is not a potential for a podcast unless we did Zoom, of course, which is something I said that we're going to try to stay away from.
Simple Man says, hope you all had a great night. I've been helping my parents put up a new pool.
Oh, well.
Wow, glad they come before us.
Well,
That's
Simple
bullshit.
Man, I hate to tell you, that pool, it might not be a great idea right now because there's no chlorine for that pool.
Yeah, for the rest of forever.
So yeah, I'm dead
Is there
serious.
salt? Do we still got salt?
Yeah, if you do a salt pool, my cold tub salt, right? No chlorine in that.
Yeah.
Literally, they say that like most states by the end of June will not have chlorine at all. Period.
By the end of June, which is the beginning of the summer.
We'll have legitimately no fucking chlorine. And people, I literally listened to some on the radio yesterday. They said a lot of pools, in particular in like 5 states, Michigan was one of them, literally they thought that people would have to shut their pool by the end of June because they'll just be like algae. Because
Algae, yeah.
No, and then the downside is that now people are hoarding chlorine, so they're going to the pool and going, oh, there's 5 things of chlorine, I'll take all 5, and now there's no chlorine for everyone else.
Man.
And so, so Simple Man, I hope your pool works out, my man.
And that's all I got for you, Bry Guy.
Is that a horrible thing? I
hope your stupid, shitty parents' pool works out, Simple Man.
No, I hope it does, man. I hope you're going salt.
No,
man.
you're not being mean. You're just giving advice, baby. Wild Boy Dev says, during MMA, everyone had a strategy until that first punch landed. Then all that went out the window. I miss it and hope it gets back.
Dev seemed like he was an MMA guy, right?
I can see that. I can totally see that.
I think
with the hair color.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw him, I was like, this dude's got to fight, right? He's got to be a fighter. He didn't have the cauliflower ear though. That's the only thing. I mean, I tell you ever go to anywhere, a bar, a restaurant, anything, you see someone with a cauliflower, you do not fucking.
Yeah, you fucking leave.
You just literally bow down to them and say, hey man, you let me pay your bill.
You want me to shine your shoes?
Yeah, I will do anything. Just don't kill me, please. Just don't kill me, because that's always the sign of I will kill you.
Oh yeah, or at least I can for sure.
As a matter of fact, Ryan from Underground Reptiles, believe it or not, he's got 2 cauliflower ears.
Get out, really?
And he just looks like he's got that look in his eye, you don't want to buy me. You don't want to buy my black throat monitor.
Yeah, let me show you.
I'll fucking choke you out.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Throw you in the dumpster. But no, it's awesome. So good, man. We'll like I said, we'll keep you guys posted on the future of. I think we touched enough on the future of the vlog, and I think that let's see, today is Sunday. Say Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Is it Monday?
Yeah, I think you're right.
So Monday we're gonna shoot for putting a video out Monday that will
have the answer.
Have the answer. To tell you guys, I will make the final decision. I will put a video out that really explains, to the best of my knowledge, or try to explain what my thought and my mindset is on the vlog, and I will. I'll do that. And then, we already touched on the podcast and how we hope to change. We even talked, Lori and I even talked about changing up, checking in, I'm not exactly sure what that meant, when she said she thought that we should change that up. Probably maybe more topic driven.
You know what you should try to do?
What's that?
You should watch King and the Sting tonight.
Okay.
So King and the Sting's Theo Von and Brendan Schaub.
Yep.
They have a very structured show. So it makes it a lot easier for them to go through, because it's just all right, there'll be a couple submissions from they'll do different games like King It or Sting It or something like that. But maybe we can do something like that where there's a little bit more playful shit going through. You know?
I think that's what we need to do, because I think just getting on and just chit-chatting and talking about this and that, just, some people like it. Again, our devout, followers are going to love it. We could talk about knitting and they would be happy.
Exactly.
But to really reach more people, I think we have to change up the format, which means we're just going to have to work on it more. And then that's ultimately, to wrap it up, is basically everything we do, we have to work harder on, right? We have to work harder on making the vlog more diverse and more interesting. We need to make this podcast more diverse by bringing on guests. We need to change checking in to a more structured podcast so people will want to go. And then Noah watches, his podcast is his podcast. But the truth is that his podcast has changed too, right? Because now he's bringing on comedians every day and or every week, which, by the way, how'd that go yesterday?
I thought it was great. That dude gave a lot of great advice, man. Stuff that I think most people would probably not tell you, because they're probably afraid it would maybe even hurt your feelings or something. He gave some good advice, and I hope Noah listens to him for sure.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that everything is in evolving, and that's what we have to do. We have to keep evolving, so it works out good. So we're getting there. We got Sherry.
Yeah, Sherry says for a Matilda saddle and the Slothopus.
Ah, yes, the Slothopus. We need a Slothopus for sure. So thanks, guys. I appreciate you so much. I really do. I love you guys beyond belief, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm still here. I'm going to be good. The decisions we make will be great for everybody, I think, because everything will be even that much better, and we know we're moving in the right direction. And I'm not going anywhere. Like I said, I love you guys too much for it. So thank you guys for joining me, supporting me, doing all that stuff. I appreciate you. Have an absolutely wonderful night. Talk to you guys soon.